Pillar 1 is radical responsibility. Radical responsibility and self-leadership are honestly two of the biggest tools that I've used to change my life. And I talk about this non-stop with clients. I talk about this with my partner. I talk about this with my family. Because I recognize the impact that this all has. Like, I used to think that I only wanted to work with athletes, and then I realized that was such a small niche. And then I realized if I could help shift one person who can just think a little bit better for themselves, can improve their relationship with their life, then that would have a greater domino effect than anything else. So what is radical responsibility? Being wholly responsible for yourself, for your feelings, for your actions, and the thoughts you choose to keep. This is what I'm still working on. But being radically responsible for yourself. It's easy to blame others. It's easy to make excuses. We can all find an excuse not to do the thing. Trust me. I could have given you every excuse why I shouldn't be here today. That I'm not good enough, that I'm scared, whatever it is. But then I'm like, well, then I'm not doing what I say I do. This is the work. I can't control what happens to things out externally to me. Life happens in so many different ways, and the thing that we can focus on is how we're going to respond. And that doesn't mean it's going to be perfect. Like, sometimes you get, life throws things at you and you think, what the fuck is going on? And you have to sit back and go, how do I want to respond to this? And sometimes responding is just sitting and being really uncomfortable. And other times, it's writing, it's asking for help, it's looking at what your resources are. And it's tough. Like, all these things that I'm sharing with you today is just a practice, right? But what we want to do is start to shift behaviors. If we're sick of being reactive, if we're sick of all or nothing, then we must start to practice some self-awareness so that we can know when and how we're triggered and how we can improve that, how we can improve how we respond. I'm responsible for how I show up for myself. Now, something that happens with a lot of people is when we set a goal that is yours, we blame others for why we can't do it. And there's always a reason to blame someone else. And look, I don't have kids, so I've got to say, life's a lot easier for me. But that doesn't mean I don't have other things that happen where I have to choose to respond and have to take ownership. But taking responsibility for yourself means you're going to use the tools that you have available to you. We can't control the environment, but we can control how we respond in an environment. I think that's a really important thing to name. And then when we can do that, we can go, what are the tools that I have available to me in this moment? And you can also learn what tools you don't have. And it doesn't have to be perfect. But if you can show up the best that you can with the tools that you have available, that is all you can do. That's the best that you can do. And then you build from there. And when we have goals and we blame others, or people we get upset because people don't understand, this is actually really normal because it's a part of our biological needs to feel seen, loved, heard, and a part of a tribe. So when we have a new goal, when we're on this evolution, this journey of transformation, which we all want to go on, sometimes we start to outgrow people. Could be our partners. They're either with you or they're not, right? It's tough. And you hope that your partner wants to grow with you and they can grow at their own pace, but as long as you continue to grow, because you know where you want to go, right? It's your life. But it's hard when friends and family don't understand. But at the end of the day, it's your goal, it's your responsibility. So some self-leadership in that way is saying, I'll go to that social event, but I'm not going to drink. I'm going to go to that social event, but I'm not going to eat. And it's hard because, one, we all love celebrating food with each other, and it's hard to be the only one left out, right? It's hard to be the person that people go, you've changed. Has anyone ever said that? People used to say to me, don't ever change. I'm like, I have to change. I can't live like this anymore. It's like, we always think it's a nice thing, and sure, there's going to be qualities that we want to keep, of course, but we're all here to evolve as humans. Self-development is an ongoing journey. It's interesting when people get so nervous, when it comes to building their bodies. It's like, I've got to work harder. I'm like, you have this body for life. Learn to enjoy working hard. And also learn to enjoy working hard without the external validation of what's going to be down there. Because sometimes you have to work harder than what you think you do. Sometimes we need to learn to work hard without a result in the end, and just work hard because that's the right thing to do. Because there's so much more in working hard than there is to be mediocre and average. And who wants to be average? Really? When things are missing, we feel stuck in a place of helplessness. We might notice other people blaming other people. We might notice ourselves blaming other people. We feel a loss of empowerment. Feel a loss of empowerment because we've given our identity, our things, our responsibility to someone else. We don't take ownership for ourselves. That's really dangerous. That feeling of stuck. But what happens when it's developed? We can learn to control how we respond to life. It doesn't have to be perfect, we're always learning. When we're practicing radical responsibility, we focus on the efforts and skills and tools that we have available to us. That gives us the opportunity for power, to be in control. Like most of us do things to be in control. But if the intention is to be better, is to be responsible versus control every situation that we have, which we can't, especially when we're trying to control other humans, then we still feel a sense of anchoring. We start to build trust again. So every time, all those times that you had a little bit more, that you bitched out on a rep and you knew you should have done it, we've all done it. Honestly, that's what I love about training. That's what I love about building your body, actually. It's my responsibility. In the same way with your business, I'm going off a tangent here, there's such a big relationship between building your business and building your body. You only get out what you put in. Your business isn't building unless you're putting in all the work, right? All the reps, all the sets, all the objection handling with clients, the sales calls. I love sales calls. Give me your objection. I want it. It's the same, we have our own objections to ourselves, right? Don't worry, no one else is doing it. We'll do it tomorrow. This is what's really important. We must create our own validating system for ourselves. Only we can build our bodies. Yes, we have amazing resources. I can honestly say I don't think I would be as strong as I am without Sebastian Oreb. I wouldn't have even known what I was capable of without him. But I still had to show up and do the work. In fact, there were times where he was like, "That's enough work, Hattie." But mentors and great people around you are so important as well, because we model others. There's no one more influential to us than a person. And for those of you here who are mothers or fathers and people who lead others, you are someone's greatest influence. And so your self-leadership is so important. And sometimes that self-development is such an eye-opening experience. Sometimes I'm like, fuck me. I thought I'd been through, I thought I accomplished this. It comes up in so many different ways. For every level, there's another devil, right? Same with training. The stronger you get, the harder you got to keep going. But what do you get on the end? The reward, the satisfaction, the I can do it, the self-empowerment, right? Learning to be uncomfortable when you're hungry or when you're training hard. We're going to be uncomfortable in other areas of our life. It can help you be familiar in discomfort. There's so much that we can learn from being an athlete, from having an athlete's mindset. And that's including our recovery. In the same way muscles adapt to stress, our bodies adapt to stress, and that doesn't mean it's better. We've got something called allostatic load, and that's how much our body can respond from total stress. And what we tend to do is we obviously get better at handling more stress, right? But that's not better. In the same way that more training isn't better, more stress isn't better, right? In the same way that we have coaches and mentors to help guide us, we need to be able to outsource when it comes to business things. So there's so many similarities between growing your business and growing your body. Radical responsibility. How do we develop these skills? Why is it important to know who you are and what is important to you and who do you want to be? Right? Because that is going to require the behaviors and habits and skill sets that you need to be who you want to be. The greatest version of you. Who is she? And tonight, if you can, really have a hard think about the person that it is that you want to be. You're going to have so much incredible information coming in over this weekend. It's going to be a little bit, sometimes too much information, too much motivation becomes overwhelming. Does anyone ever notice that? It's like, what do I do with all this? There's something that you can do that's quite interesting. You can actually go out and look at the sky. Why? Because when we go and we expand into our peripheral vision, it takes our fight and flight response out of it and can re-regulate your system. So that's something that you can do before you zoom back in and start to ask yourself some deep questions. Who am I? Who do I want to be? What's the greatest version of me? And we don't just become the greatest version of ourselves, we be it through our actions, through our habits, what we do every day. And suddenly we realize, I am that person. How I showed up for me today in this challenging moment, I was him, I was her. Clarity is so important here. And we practice being that person when we don't feel like it. When we do feel like it, when it's rainy, when it's sunny, when it's boring.